Testing, testing.
Mr. Chair, we are live.
Thank-
Sorry, I don't hear anything.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As you know, as per the procedural bylaw on the Police Services Board Act, every year the board selects a chair and vice chair to moderate meetings. The way this is going to work is in about a second, I'm going to open up the floor for nominations for the office of chair. We will receive those and we'll vote on those. And then following, we'll do the vice chair. So if there's no questions with that, I will open up the floor for nominations for the role of chair of the Police Services Board. I see Mr. Cruz.
Nominate Councillor Kim Hoffman for chair.
Thank you, Mr. Cruz. Councillor Hoffman, do you accept that nomination?
Yes, I do.
Very good. Is there any other people who'd like to run for chair? Going once, twice, 3 times? Okay. So we have a motion on the floor to elect Councillor Kim Huffman for a 1-year term as chair of the Police Services Board Act. I'll need a mover. George Santos. We'll need a seconder. Willie, thank you. All in favor? Excellent. Thank you very much. Madam Chair, would you like to move to the front? Madam Chair gets situated, I will now do vice chair elections. I look for a nominator to be vice chair. We have Willie.
Thank you. Could I nominate Councillor Linda Vanadrisi?
Councillor Vendrisi, do you accept that nomination?
Thank you very much, Willie. Yes, I will.
Very good. Is there any other offers to be vice chair? It's going once, twice, 3 times. Okay. All in favor of Councillor Vanderdrisi being vice chair of the Police Services Board for a 2-year term? We'll need a mover. We'll need a mover. We need a mover for that. Chair Huffman, seconder. George Santos, all in favor? Very good. That's carried. Thank you, Madam Vice Chair.
Good morning. Smooth transition of power, eh, George? Switch a few nameplates and away we go. I just wanted to, the approval of the agenda and changes to the agenda. We have one change to the agenda. If you could please add agenda item 6.3 deputation Hetty Mayhart to the agenda. May I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Sorry, Madam Vice Chair, I believe there was another amendment from George Santos.
Okay.
Madam Chair, if I may, to Board Administrator, I would ask that we add 3 other points. I'll start out with 7.3 on the consent to agenda update from Chief Case in regards to the transfer to Haldeman County, and have our new acting inspector, Jennifer Neitz from the OPP.
Okay.
If that is possible with regards to consent to agenda 7.3. And also, Madam Chair, to our Board Administrator, 9.3, dates for the 2023 meetings proposed for at least 5 meetings in the year of 2023. So I'm proposing April, June, September, and December. And I'm also proposing the last Wednesday of the month. And the reason being for that, and I can further the 9.3 when the time comes, is in reference to the OPP stats. If we have it for the last month of the meeting, then we have updated stats, and no one is basically waiting for them the following month or the month after, and it doesn't put anyone under stress. Also, another consent agenda, Madam Chair, is 9.4, the charity hockey game. Norfolk and Haldeman OPP and Six Nations Police with Brantford City Police for the food banks. Possible donation put forth.
How do I increase?
If we can add that to consent to agenda.
Yes.
And one other one, if we can also add 9.5, resolution number 4, that goes back to September the 28th of 2022. I just want to further that, if that's possible. Madam Chair, to the Board Administrator, that resolution number 4, September 28, 2022, in reference to getting updated reports from bylaw. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Are there any other items, Willie?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Just one other item I think we should probably deal with this time is that spring conference from the OAPSB. I think it's in May 30th to June 1st. Other years we had 2 members there, so maybe it gives us due time to the registration.
Okay, thank you very much. Any other additions to the agenda? Okay. And Aaron, you have these added to the agenda?
Yes, I do, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. So at this point in time, may I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented? Member Cruz and seconder, Member Santos. All in favor? That is carried. At this point in time, I would like to ask if there are any declarations of pecuniary interest. Seeing none, we'll move forward. The next item on the agenda is the confirmation of the minutes from the previous meeting. We have the following minutes before us today. 4.1 Police Services Board minutes, December 12th, 2022. Unless there are any errors or omissions, may I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented? A motion. Member Santos, and a seconder, Member Cruz. All in favor? Any opposed? That is carried. Yes.
Sorry, Madam Chair, just a quick comment, just to be real quick. I think on the agenda was the composition of board. I did get a phone call just as an update about if I was willing to serve another term. And so I expressed my willingness to do so. That would probably, from what I'm guessing, go to order of council at the end of the month. So then the county would be notified of that. We did have some discussion as well, because by the fall, the composition of the boards could change. So although it's a 2-year appointment, that could change. Yeah, so I've agreed, and if it comes back through, then by the fall, we'll probably be notified of what the composition of the boards will be. Then the existing would be vacated type thing for a short time, with the new one coming possibly in the spring of 2024, the new composition of the board. So just so everyone's aware of that. And I'm sure the county will get notification if the order in council goes through the way it sounded like they presented it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that update. And Mr. Plant, that information will come to the county. That is correct, right?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, so moving on to the next, we have 3 presentations today. We have item number 5.1, Chris Everett's Acting Manager of Strategic Financial Planning and Reporting, read the Police Services Board full financial statement. And is Mr. Everett, well, from the Planning Division, will provide an update on the Police Services Board budget. And will that be virtual? Okay, sorry, you're blocked by my iPad there. Okay, if you'd like to go ahead, that would be great, Chris. Thank you very much.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. As the chair mentioned, I'm Chris Everett, the Manager of Strategic Financial Planning and Reporting. So I just got some budget updates for you today. It should be relatively quick. I'm just going to share my screen so you can see what I'm talking about, because I don't believe it made it on the agenda. So firstly, we're just going to look at what's included in the budget information. So just at a high level, the Police Services Board budget is funded through the levy-supported operating budget. And this includes things like member remuneration, mileage, meeting expenses, training and development, grants, any capital expenditures, anything of that nature. So it's generally, in the grand scheme of things, for us, not an overly large budget, but I do understand the importance of it. So I wanted to go through some of the details. I figured we would start with an update on 2022 actuals. I will just note that these are unaudited at this point in time, so there could be some year-end adjustments, but at a quick glance, nothing's looking out of line for me. So this was just kind of a quick snapshot, but I actually have it drilled down to more detail. So this is a standard report that we use internally. So just to give some high-level review, salaries and benefits, again, that's the remuneration for the board members that receive it. We have materials and supplies, which includes office supplies, of which nothing has been spent in 2022. Meeting expenses, you can see, is very minor at $12. This generally includes, or the budget for this is related to the monthly meetings as well as the biannual zone meetings, and then as well mileage for board members as well. And then under services, we have training and development, and this is mostly comprised of the annual conference, which we budget $1,000 for each member, and then there's an additional $300 for just various miscellaneous small training items. And then you'll see as well for memberships and associations, that is the OAPSB membership. Most of those things are looking fairly in line for 2022. The next item we have is grant payments, and so this is the $8,000 that relates to the previous community policing committees, which Aaron could probably correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the clerk's department is planning to bring something back at some point during this year to address this budget potentially. And then we also have transfer to reserves, and so this is a $5,000 annual contribution that's made to account for the eventual replacement of the speed watch sign. The next section is just the interdepartmental charges, which is the support that's received from various county departments. The only one here with a variance is legal services, and that one's only charged if there is actually something to charge there, whereas most of the others are charged based on budget. So we can see we have a total variance on expenditures of roughly $14,000. And then that brings us to the revenues, which all we have is the false alarm fees, which we budgeted $50,000 a year, and it's looking like we're going to land somewhere around $53,000 for 2022. So a slight surplus there. And then as well, you'll see down here auction proceeds of $258. That was communicated to the board previously in 2022, and it's transferred to the separate account that goes to. So overall, we have a projected surplus of approximately $17,000 for 2022. I can stop here if anyone has any questions before we move on to the 2023 budget.
Are there any questions for Mr. Everett? No? Okay, all right, I think,
Madam Chair.
oh, sorry,
I have a
George.
question, Madam Chair, if I may. The question I have is, so we no longer as a board have a bank account with CIBC. Our account is with Norfolk County, is that correct?
That is my understanding. I believe that there was some talk about moving, that we were going to be changing that budget, or the bank account. And then there was some information found by Ms. Olson and her staff. So that's my understanding, but I could be wrong. Okay, Aaron?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you, if I can just build on that, that is correct. This past summer, the Police Services Board bank account was closed at the CIBC. The chair and former chair who opened that account originally with us were there and present. It went through the proper channels. All that authoritative payments and whatnot has all been transferred to the Treasury Department now. So that's all under the management of the Financial Services Department. So.
Thank you very much for that clarification. Member Santos?
So Madam Chair, just to add to that, so we don't need signing authority. We don't need, for example, the chair or the vice chair for signatures with regards to any monies that are taken out of this account.
Madam Chair, through you, I'll hand that over to my colleague Chris Everett, who's the manager, and he can probably speak better to that than I could.
Yeah, so through the chair, part of the change in moving it in-house with the county is hopefully to streamline that process. So all we require moving forward is a motion from the board that's approved in order to receive or spend any of those funds, and that will initiate the process internally to make sure that happens.
Is that answer satisfactory?
That does answer, but I just want a clarification. So under the Police Services Act, are we kosher with the fact that even though we're arm's length from Norfolk County, we as a board don't need signing authority with reference to any funds that are allocated to any organization or any bills that come to us? Is that my understanding?
Through the
Eric,
chair,
would you like to expand on that? Or Chris, can you answer that, please?
I believe that's correct. It went through a fairly lengthy review with the county clerk when we made this change, and the funds definitely are not held. While they're held by the county, they're not consolidated within the county's financial system, so it is definitely held separately. So I believe we are fine there.
Okay, thank you very much, Chris. Okay, any other questions for Mr. Everett regarding the financial statement of operations? Okay, with that, may I have a motion to receive this presentation as information?
Sorry.
Oh, Willie?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairperson. So are we still getting a presentation in regards to what we started with and how much money is available to us for 2023? Normally we donate some monies, for example, Crime Stoppers. I think we gave $2,000 last year. or there could be other things we gave towards those, what was it called? The linen, where they have speed limits when you're driving through town.
Speed watch sign.
So, yeah. And so we had things like that. I just wondered, like, I'd like to have some idea of how much funds we have available for that type of thing.
Okay, I see some nodding heads from Mr. Everett. So Chris, would you like to take over from there?
Yes, sure. Thank you. Through the chair, I do have a few more things I can show you today. So that was just the first piece. So we can move on from that. I will. Sure. So this is again kind of similar. I just did a little bit of a snapshot of the approved 2023 budget, but I do have it in similar fashion to the statement of operations, drilled down more to the objects, or we call them object categories. So I can go take you through that now. So similar, not many changes to what I described on the 2022 statement, but we have salaries and benefits, the standard office supplies, meeting expenses, and mileage. The postage here is related to the false alarm fees, and it's relatively minor. So again, we have training and development that includes 2 attendees to the conference, as well as an additional $300 for miscellaneous training. And then the OAPSB membership rounds out the services. We've left the $8,000 in here for now for the community policing grants until a decision's been made on what's happening with that. And then basically we've just had the interdepartmental charges change. You'll notice a difference here. It's driven by allocating more of the, or more accurately allocating the time spent by the clerk's department for the police services board. So that's the driver of that increase. We continue to see the transfer to reserve for replacement of the speed watch signs, and then our budget for the revenue. So then from there, I do have another little slide here. So I think this is probably more what we're looking to see. But for the auction funds account, I just have, just for a little bit of reference, as Aaron had noted, this was updated, or the update was provided March 23rd of 2022, and then a subsequent report with revisions to the policy was brought forward at the May 18th, 2022 meeting. And so where we sit right now is when the account was closed at CIBC and brought over to Norfolk County, the balance was $3,184.10. And the 2022 proceeds that we're aware of were the $258.72. So that brings us to a current balance of $3,442.
Are there any additions to your report, Chris?
No, that is all that I've brought today.
Okay, thank you very much. So with that, does that answer your question, member?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just to be clear then, so this is kind of like slush money that we have available.
You don't like to use that
No.
term in police services board.
No, sorry. Yeah. So this is extra money that we have left over, which could go towards policing issues, right? So
That is my understanding, that
Yeah.
this is money at our disposal to disperse as we see fit.
right, and that's a better way to phrase it. Thanks for that one. What was I going to say? So of that, if we look ahead, we normally get a presentation sometime in the new year from Crime Stoppers, which is something that's been going on for years and years. That would come out of this, as well as, for example, if there's something new that's suggested to us by the chief of police or by, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, may I have a motion to receive the previous report as information?
Could I ask a
Member
question?
Santos?
Oh, Madam Chair.
Oh, sorry, go ahead, member. Vanden Rishi?
Thank you, Madam Chair. It's a terrible connection. I'm just making a request to Chris whether we could get a hard copy of the financial statements.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm understanding that you're wanting a hard copy of the financial statements. Chris, would you be able to provide one of those to, a copy to each of the members?
Yes, through the chair, I can make sure that happens.
Thank you very much. Okay, seeing no other hands, may I have a motion to receive, as information? Member Van Houten, seconder. Member Cruz, all in favor? And that is carried. Thank you very much, Chris. Okay, next on our agenda is, at this point in time, do I add those previous ones or just go on with the deputations? We're looking at adding.
Sorry, Madam Chair. I think that was a clerical error on my part. We can just continue on.
We just go on to deputations?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, at this point in time, we will start with the deputations. Our first deputation is item 6.1, Bailey Long from Crime Stoppers. Read the Crime Stoppers update. And Bailey, are you with us? Aaron, did we have any confirmation?
Madam Chair, I think I will reach out to Bailey and see if she can join. We will move on to the next deputation and see if I'll get confirmation.
Thank you very much. So we'll move to item 6.2, John Rogers, re-solar speed signs. John, are you with us today?
Right. Yes, I am.
Okay. All right. The floor is yours. You have 5 minutes for your deputation. I'll let you know when you're getting close to your 5-minute limit. And please go ahead.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair. My name is John Rogers, and I'm Chair of the Turkey Point Property Owners Association. Since I guess the subject, very simply, is our inundation with our traffic in the summertime, and it basically July and August, I've been in constant contact with the Ontario Police Services, whether it be the staff sergeants or the superintendents, especially when we have our annual general meeting each June, which has been going on for close to 67 years, and one of the longest standing associations in Ontario. We have a concern with traffic, and I'm sure I've talked to the previous chair, George Santos, about getting some speed signs. You'll see speed signs here in Turkey Point. We have two large arteries, Cedar and Ordnance, and a bottleneck down at the of traffic at the public park. There are concerns with parking, like everything with every community, whether it be Long Point or anybody that has the parking situation in the summertime. So I just wanting to know. I've talked to our counselor. He said that basically do a deputation to the Norfolk County, and then I've talked to, as I say, previously to George Santos, who said put a deputation in here if you have extra money or you have money that you could provide. I'm not sure the cost, but I guess there's a coordination with the Norfolk County roads to basically put them in after, if we decide to get them, or we can get them. And just want to know what we need to do to get this situation under control as far as the traffic, and we all know that signs work, because we do work with Ontario Parks, and we know that with all their signage, right from all the previous superintendents, whether it be the ticks or traffic, it does work. And we see that other communities with less population have these signs, and I'm really looking to have these signs, and they could be in operation just for the July and August, and they could be disconnected from those months on. So I just want to throw that out towards the committee there, and get some feedback. Thanks.
Thank you very much for your deputation. And I certainly am a big proponent as well of the speed watch signs. And in my community in Ward 7, we do have several examples of those, and I do find that they are beneficial. My understanding with this would be that it lies more in the hands of Norfolk County Council in terms of bringing this forward. My recommendation would be, and I can certainly follow through with this, would be to have Councillor Van Passen bring forward a recommendation to the Traffic Safety Committee, a request for them to look into this area, in particular Ordnance and Cedar in Turkey Point, and look at the validity of having the speed watch signs there. Does that sound like that would be beneficial?
Yeah, well, and I've talked to Councillor Van Passen, and he's directed me to your body. So I guess there's just a disconnect here a little bit, but I was willing to do anything we need to do to get the signs. So this is a disconnect from Councillor Van Passen to you, or through you to you. So anything would help. And I've talked to Councillor Van Passen before the elections, and he did happily got elected again, but I haven't talked to him since. So maybe there's more of a motivation now. He's starting out again, but I didn't get any satisfaction at all from Councillor Van Passen, and the only basically my connect was George Santos previously several months ago. So anything would help, and I can always be contacted and go from there. Thanks.
Thank you. I would be more than happy to take this issue on to the Traffic Safety Committee. They just met the end of January, so they'll be meeting again in plenty of time prior to the summer months. I would strongly recommend actually June, July, and August for the signs, definitely. I think things start to get busy down there in June. And I have a comment here from Member Santos.
Sure. Thanks, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Madam Huffman. To Mr. Rogers. Mr. Rogers, good morning. Thank you for your help out in Turkey Point. I know further to our conversation back, if I'm not mistaken, back in September, my whole point here is to the chair of the Police Services Board is there's already existing signs in Norfolk County. I'm just wondering if some of these signs can be moved around. And because a lot of these signs that are out, they're existing, but they become a permanent fixture. And if we could somehow use the existing and change them around throughout Norfolk County, because there is a great cost to these signs, and it would show and make clear to the public that it's important that they're just not a fixture, because ultimately at the end of the day, it all comes down to enforcement, and we're limited with enforcement at times, but these signs basically are an educational piece.
Thank you, Member Santos. That would be a decision that would be made by the Traffic Safety Committee. They have the expertise in that area, and that's why I think we'll bring it forward to them for their next meeting and go forward from there. At this point in time, I do know that when we did speak about the speed watch signs, that they were meant to be rotated around, that they are mobile, and they are able to be moved. So I will bring that to their attention as well, if that's satisfactory to you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. That's perfect. And once again, Mr. Rogers, thank you. I see.
Yes, thanks, Mr. Santos. I do have another question, Madam Chair.
Sure, go ahead.
Yeah, we have, several years back, we did have the mobile signs be brought in. I guess when I've talked to Staff Sergeant Andy Fox, they just are not really, they have one left. They're not willing to bring something down because it got damaged. So these mobile signs are not the answer for Turkey Point. We need the stationary solar digital. And I know that you said June, July, August is great. Yes, that's, we could have them on for 6 months of the year. And I'm just saying that if we need to shut them off, we could shut them off because there's the population dwindles off season, or even into the shoulder seasons down here. But that's, and we could have them up high enough that there would be no vandalism. So those are just two issues that we were talking about with the provincial police.
Okay, thank you very much for that clarification. And Member Cruz, I saw your hand was up. And sorry, Linda, I don't naturally look over to my left. I look to my right, so you're on my left. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I thought maybe I wasn't even there at all, like but non-visual. And I apologize for not being there right off the bat. So that's what COVID does to you, makes you stay home. I'd like to thank Mr. Rogers for his presentation. And I'm hearing that we're talking about a different type of sign than what we see in other communities. I know, and my point is this, I think you're right in the idea of a digital sign. But could I go back to your presentation a bit for a question? You said something about you were an organization or that you were putting money towards something. Could you just explain to me what that meant, what you were talking about there?
As far as putting money, I don't know whether I mentioned anything about putting money, but the Turkey Point Property Owners Association, with our membership, and we do have an annual general meeting every year, and we have our emails and stuff that we send out memberships. We don't know what the costs of these are, but we are in favor of providing some type of a percentage, if need be, to purchase these signs. So it's just starting. I don't know exactly. I've heard different values of these signs that are in like small communities like Renton and all along our community. But that's a start. Like we would be willing to contribute if need be, if there's no monies available from any of the Norfolk County or the Police Services Board.
Yes, thank you. I think that's approximately what I had heard. So there was an association or a committee group. The problem with taking, and I know I appreciate my colleague's suggestion about the movement, but we can't forget the other communities that are as well having traffic situations where the speeding is getting out of hand. So I don't know about, if we've got enough spares to be moving around or not. But at the end of the day, I think you have a concern down there, and I agree with the chair. It would be moved over to the Traffic Safety Committee. At the end of the day, though, I don't want us to forget any other communities or remove things where they could be staying there. So I'm in favor of moving it to the Traffic Safety Committee for some being addressed there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Cruz.
So in light of everything we've heard, I move to receive the deputation from Mr. Rogers and have through you, Chair, Madam Chair, to Councillor Van Passen bring forward to the Traffic Safety Committee the issue.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there a seconder for that motion? Member Van Houten? Okay, all of those in favor? And that motion is carried. Okay, thank you very much for your deputation, and hopefully we can get you some satisfaction and get some speed signs out in Turkey Point for this upcoming summer season.
Great. Thanks for your time.
Okay, thanks, John. Okay, we will move on now to our third deputation. It is 6.3 on our agenda, and it's Hetty Mayhard, who is going to speak regarding thefts in Norfolk County. And there's just a button there. There you go. And you have 5 minutes for your deputation, and go ahead.
I can try.
Okay, thanks.
Good morning, Madam Chair and members of the Police Service Board and officers around me. I'm going to read this all. My name is Hetty Mayars, and my husband Kees and I are cash crop farmers in Norfolk County. The reason why I'm here today is to explore what the Police Services Board's plan of action is relating to the ongoing rampant thefts in Norfolk County, and to make it their priority to fight crime within the community and to protect its citizens, not just in the towns, but also in the country. I understand that the primary function of the Police Services Board is to determine priorities and objectives for police services within the community. In October 2022, just before Thanksgiving weekend, we were the victims of a brazen theft from one of our fields. Criminals stole 2 pieces of equipment, a 340 horsepower tractor, our workhorse, that pulls heavy equipment, and also a vertical tillage piece of equipment that was attached to the tractor and unfolded in the field. Of course, valuable tools in the cab of the tractor disappeared with the tractor at the same time, like the precision planter monitor, etc. The value of the stolen equipment to replace it is about $430,000. That's what we paid to replace it. In this economy of inflation, US dollar exchange, lack of availability, supply and demand, causing prices to increase up to 100% from time of purchase. For example, vertical tillage was purchased in 2020 and has now been doubled in price in 2 years. This total theft cost us $300,000. Do you think we can recover from this? Not only is it not hard to figure out what the insurance premiums will be with all the theft in our area, as insurance increases if there is an increase in theft in a specific area. But how about the financial challenges we have to cope with if the property is not found, which is our situation? Henceforth, we have to replace it. Please stop dreaming if you think that insurance companies will cover you for your losses that you cannot do anything about. What safeguards are there in place that we as farmers, the engine of Norfolk County, are protected from criminals who steal our property and seem to go scot-free? How can we safely continue to operate our business and stay in business without being bankrupted because of thefts? We expect the police to protect us and act accordingly, especially when theft occurs. In our situation, police didn't even bother to come out and have not returned voice messages from us when asking for an update. Farming is our bread and butter. Norfolk County and other departments investigates a complaint immediately and thoroughly and spends many thousands of dollars to enforce bylaws. Recently, I read an article in Global News of December 2nd, 2022 regarding stolen equipment, and I handed out a couple copies, which I'm now going to read a bunch of things from. The headline of the article is Stolen Farming Equipment Trailers Vehicles Seized in Camrose, Alberta. Investigation. Alert. Alert stands for Alberta Law Enforcement Response Teams. The article goes on to read that more than 100 stolen vehicles, farming equipment, trailer and other machinery were recovered following extensive investigation southeast of Edmonton. The Alberta Law Enforcement Response Team's Auto Crimes unit searched 17 locations on November 21, 2022. This was part of an extensive organized crime investigation, Alert spokesperson Mike Tucker said. Alert said upwards of 170 police officers from Alberta were involved in searches. Alert said it is still in the process of cataloging all of the stolen equipment due to the high volume of items recovered by police. Several suspects have been identified, but Alert said charges have not yet been laid. This has been a big undertaking, and we think it's going to have a huge impact once we tally up all the results and get ready to lay charges, Tucker said, spokesperson. The ultimate goal is to return the stolen items to their rightful owners, of course. Norfolk County citizens deserve to be protected, and citizens deserve that their property is protected. For what reason are we facing another enormous property tax increase on top of our lost inflation? Words alone are not going to cut it. Action is what counts, and when will Norfolk County address the criminal issues so we as citizens and farmers can be assured that we are safe and our property is safe? because of Norfolk County Police Services Board taking the initiative to be part of an Ontario police law enforcement response team. May the citizens of Norfolk County taxpayers' dollars be used prudently, so Norfolk County may be on the map to be called a safe community that fights crime, to the extent that citizens do not have to live in fear of criminals. But right now, it seems to be that there is a safe haven for criminals. My question is, do you care? This is the end of the presentation.
Thank you very much, Hetty, for your presentation. At this point in time, I'll take any questions. Member Cruz?
Thank you for your presentation, Hetty, and yes, we do care. I don't know to what extent large thefts occur in Norfolk County from farmers. Your theft is a significant one for sure. I don't know what system the OPP has to track farm theft equipment, or whether they go around, whether they can go around checking for checking every location that they can for stolen farm equipment. However, you mentioned that you went back to the OPP and they didn't respond to you. They didn't come out to your farm. That is a significant theft, and there certainly would have been some investigative information that they would have needed for that. If you're not satisfied with people not coming out, the police not coming out to your farm, I think your next step would be to phone one of the staff sergeants there at Norfolk, and I'm sure you get okay, all right. I don't know, well, not knowing the situation, I can't respond any further than that. But yes, as a police services board, we do care. And I hope their issues can be investigated and resolved to your satisfaction.
And our next member Van Houten.
Yes, and then Mr. Cruz went through the thoughts that I had as well, and certainly I would echo his comments that we really do care. When your properties were stolen, was there others in the area as well? Other farms that were also broken into at the time, or not? That's you're right. Yeah, I farm as well, and I know you sometimes you have to leave the tractor with the equipment out there because you're going back in the next morning. And yeah, no, it's obviously a major concern to have any crime whatsoever. We try to do all we can, to mitigate that. But so I think thank you so much for your presentation. Just bringing it out to light all helps. So thank you so much for coming out and making light of some of the difficulties that we have.
Thank you. Member Santos?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for your presentation. As my members have said, we do care, and I also believe that the OPP care. So, Madam Chair, if I can ask Chief Case to possibly answer a question or two in reference to October the 22nd of 2022, even though we may not have the answer, but at least some direction, because it's my understanding that if a call is placed to London Dispatch or the comm center, that an occurrence, a number, correct, is put forth, and then possible investigation. If you could just further this, if you could, Chief Case, Madam Chair.
Yep, that was next on my agenda. It doesn't work so well for people viewing at home.
Okay, how's that? Okay, so good morning through you, Chair. Yes, we do care. And to speak specifically about this incident, because I wasn't prepared to answer to it, I can't speak specifically to your incident at this time, but I can say that we certainly would investigate it, and there would be a number associated with it, and understanding as the cost that was associated to this, I would expect it to have been a call for service for our crime unit specifically. So I'm not sure who you did or didn't speak to at that attachment, but I can assure you that the staff sergeants are there and engaged, and I just follow up with our office, and I'm sure we'll try to go deep.
Okay, thank you very much, Chief Case. And Member Santos? Microphone.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just one other question to the OPP. Now, I understand, so Alberta has a program called Alert. Does the Ontario Provincial Police have any enforcement team in reference to farmers or this type of crime?
Not like that I know of, but our street crime unit specifically takes care of our property crimes in our area. And I mean, we can look at the statistics that I provided for November pertaining to property crimes and thefts in our area, which have decreased. I can tell you that they work very diligently, and our numbers for results of associated to charges and property return is quite impressive. And we continue to work hard.
And next, Member Vanden Rishi.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and through you. A question, I'm sure that Hetty must have spoke with someone. Hetty, I know you're not there, but if you could come back for a second. When you called your insurance, did you have a number attached to it from the police report?
I'm Mrs. Van Rishi. So what happened, my husband discovered that the equipment was not in the field when he went there. So he phoned 911. It took actually forever before somebody picked it up. But anyhow, so he did speak to somebody. There was a police report made. So nobody came. It was just verbally with my husband. That's all that happened. There was a number assigned to it. So I phoned a couple times to the police station to find out if they had any kind of an update. And nobody ever phones back. So I don't want to reveal the name of the officer here, but I can definitely mention that.
Right, and I understand that, but there was a number attached to it because you'd have to make your call to the insurance and they'd ask for an incident report.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I've never seen the report. The report only went to the insurance company.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I had to give permission for the report that I've never seen it to be given to the insurance company.
Right. I do know they work behind the scenes, and I don't know the circumstances, and I can't probably comment on it, but I will make a comment of this, that I do have a family member that lost a large trailer, pricey, and at the end of the day, it took 6 months, but they have got the trailer actually returned to them. So I knew that the OPP have been working on that kind of thing. So let's hope that the same thing can happen for use, because that's a large piece of equipment, and I'm sure somebody would have noticed it going down the road. So I feel bad that there wasn't an officer that did come out. So I do apologize for that. So thank you, Hetty, for the information.
I just want to maybe say, I honestly believe that this is organized crime, because it's not so simple to take a tractor with a piece of equipment behind it of that size from the field. It's not like a young kid or whatever is going in a tractor and driving around the field and doing a couple spins. People have to know what they're doing. It's a certain way of operating the tractor. And of course, the machinery needs to be folded up in order to even make it out of the driveway. And they very likely would have needed a float, because you do not get very far with a 340 horsepower. You cannot just drive off to Edmonton or something. That's simply not possible. So I think there's going to be a lot more focus from the police on these type of things happening, because this is just too much, and it's going to really bankrupt people, because these prices aren't through the roof.
Yeah.
And nobody's insured for that. That's just how it works.
Exactly. No one is insured for replacement value of that sense. I understand that. So thank you for the information, Hetty.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your presentation. So it sounds like there's been some productive discussion, and my recommendation is that you call back to the detachment with your incident number, and it sounds like after hearing from Chief Case that there will be some follow-up with yourself with a staff sergeant.
Thank you very much for your time, Olive.
Thank you very much. At this point in time, may I have a motion to receive the deputation for information? Member Santos and a seconder? Willie. Member Willie. That's what I'm going to call everybody. Just remember. All in favor? Okay, and that is carried. Next on our agenda is consent. We have 2 consent items today. Does any board member wish to pull an item for further discussion? Seeing, Member Santos?
Yes, Matt. Thank you, Madam Chair. In regards to consent to agenda 7.1, the Ontario Association of Police Services Board, the letter needed for evidence of bail-based reform on page 10. So if I can ask everyone to turn to page 10 of 66. This, of course, is a letter that the Ontario Association of Police Services Board had sent out back on September the 7th of 2022. And it's my clear understanding that this letter, unfortunately, fell on deaf ears. And so, in my understanding, I have spoken to Lisa Darling, who's the executive director of the Ontario Association of Police Services Board. And what the Ontario Association of Police Services Board would like is that each board throughout the province of Ontario send support. And of course, more so due to the fact that the murder of the constable in Haldimand County, Greg Priscilla. And I think it's important that we show support through the Ontario Association to our local government, because this is a federal issue. But I do believe our voices, being small, but mighty in one respect. And the point here is the 3 bullet points. And I want everyone to understand here is the require that the bail hearings for most serious firearm offenses be heard by the judge of the Ontario Court of Superior Court, clearly conveying Parliament's view of the seriousness. And then second, the bullet point would be add additional to first-degree murder under Section 231 of the Criminal Code. And then with that, maintain public confidence. And I think this is important. It's ideal because we've lost some public confidence in regards to what's happening with the justice system and, of course, what took place after Christmas. So I'm just wondering if a motion can be put forth to our Ontario Association of Police Services Board to support going forward that the federal government make changes to the legislation in this regard. So I just wanted to add that, Madam Chair, and if there are any other members that have anything else to say, by all means, now is the time to say it, and hopefully we could send a letter on behalf of the Norfolk Police Services Board to the Ontario Association, which is a greater voice for all police services board. Thank you.
And Member Santos, is that a motion that you've put on the floor?
So that is a motion.
Is there a seconder for that motion? Councillor Vanden Rishi, you're seconding that? Okay. All right. All of those in favor? Yes? Is there any discussion on the item? Member Cruz?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree with you, Member Santos. The issue is a big one here, and it's a complex one. There's I agree with the bail reform issues that you brought forward there, and that I believe the Toronto Police brought forward as well. But that being said, there are issues that the Canadian Civil Liberties Association brought forward in that people that are charged with an offense and not yet convicted that are put in jail, they have rights too. And the CCLA says that that the people that will be put in jail will negatively affect members of the Black community, the Indigenous community, as well as poor and those experiencing mental health. So there's conflicting issues there for the government to look at before, and I'm sure they are looking at all that as well. But there's also the back end that we have to look at too, and that the people that are, I believe, the people that are put in jail and haven't been given bail, there has to be resources and money put in for law enforcement to ensure that they are those people, those offenders, are abiding by their bail conditions. People that skip bail and parole, they have to ensure that law enforcement has to ensure that they're aggressively going after those people, because I believe that those people that skip bail and parole are the most are some of the most dangerous serial offenders that are out there at this time. So money has to be put, resources have to be put in the back end for law enforcement to actually go and enforce and look at, just try and find these people so that they don't continuously offend. So that's important as well. Again, it's very complex, but I do support your motion in supporting and sending a letter to the Ontario Association of Police Service Boards for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Cruz. Are there any other comments at this time?
I'm sorry. Thank you, Madam Chairperson. I too support strongly the resolution brought forth by Member Santos. Some of this stuff can be preventable if this is done right. And we've seen many comments and letters from the Chief of Police, and I'm strongly in favor that they move this forward, and hopefully we can get some positive action from the government on this area.
Member Santos?
Thank you, Madam Huffman. Just to Mr. Cruz, I mean, this issue is a very big issue. There's no doubt in my mind, but I think there needs to be a big start where the federal government has to correct the criminal code to make it much easier, because we've lost public confidence in regards to a number of issues that have taken place. And I think the straw that broke the camel's back was a senseless murder of an officer in Halton County. So, and I do believe, from what I've read in the newspapers in regards to the premiers of Canada, the 10 provinces and the 3 territories have all agreed that our Minister of Justice federally must make and should make some changes. So I'm very grateful that our members are on side with this issue, and I do believe that our voice, which is the Ontario Association of Police Services Board, will further this through our chair, Patrick Weaver, and executive director, Lisa Darling. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Santos. My comments are that I do support the endorsement of this initiative. I do, however, thank Member Cruz for pointing out the complexities of this issue. Bail reform was put in place to protect some of our most marginalized citizens, and it is important that there isn't a one size fits all when it comes to this. And I certainly agree with your comments that individuals who skip bail and violate their parole are serial offenders, and there needs to be something done in that case. So with that on the floor, I'd like to ask all those in favor of this motion to put up your hands if you're in favor. Okay, and that is carried. Thank you. All right, and our second consent item is the operational statistics and highlights 2022, November and December. Are there any comments on this consent item? Okay. Member Cruz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have two comments there. When I looked at both November and December and looking back and forth to both, and perhaps I can ask the inspector case this question in the section community safety and mobilization. When I look at November and December, the numbers are exactly the same for cruiser patrol hours, foot patrol hours, community mobilization, and the ride program. They're exactly the same for November and December. Is that an administrative error, or were they exactly the same?
I can only speak to the numbers that I have in front of me, so I'd have to look into that.
Okay, all right. And the second issue I have is for the December stats under detachment pressures. Under staffing, it stated that Norfolk assisted Haldeman due to the murder of Constable Greg Piercella. I just want the officers to know that through you, Madam Chair, that you recognize how difficult this must be regarding the emotional toll it must take on them, their shift mates, the staff, and their families. And that fact is not lost on us, and we appreciate their efforts having to do that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Member Cruz, for your comments. And I think that we can all echo the sentiment that you've shared. All right. Any other comments? Member Santos.
Thank you, Madam Huffman, Madam Chair. If I could ask everyone to turn to page 28 of 66. Chair Huffman, this question is to our police chief case. Fatals. When I'm looking at November of 2022, and I also understand it's December of 2022, fatals in the year of 2022 are 9. So we basically doubled in fatalities. So my question, Chief Kays, to you is in 2022, what were the main reasons for these fatalities? Because, I mean, we go from 4 in 2021 to 9. So I'm just trying to understand a little better.
For you, Chair. Again, specifically what our fatals the cause was. We had one in November where the driver yielded to traffic. So, I mean, the increase in fatals, as we've talked before, have been across the province. I got to look at what December is specific. So I'd have to actually pull what the fatals are to understand what the cause of fatal collisions were in order to be able to appropriately answer that question. So.
Thank you.
Actually, I'm noticing, and especially in the consent items, a bit of a disconnect here. And I would like to recommend what we do, and I'd like to pull something from our council meetings. In the future, I'm thinking what might be best is that if you're going to pull an item from consent, that we we make notice of that 24 to 48 hours before the meeting, and then that will give our staff on the OPP time to appropriately answer these questions. So in the future, moving forward, do I need to make that a motion? No? Okay, so the direction will be in the future, and I think we'll go with 48 hours that an item needs to be pulled. So there will be a connect through everybody, and items will be able to be answered on the day of the meeting. So, Willie, you have a question?
No, I support your thought, Madam Chair. That's a good one. And I guess just to further on that, so if we had, for example, a question as was asked now, if we emailed it to the chair and to the chief of police, right? Is that the appropriate way, or to everyone?
Yeah, I'm just going to say, Chief Kays has an answer here.
Yes, through you, Chair. I would appreciate that for sure, because you're asking about the year in totality, and all I have in front of me is November and December. So for me to speak specifically to fatal collisions throughout the whole year, I don't have that in front of me. So it would be very advantageous because I could have those answers for you, for sure. And it would be great if, and I'm sure that acting inspector would love to meet with you beforehand, Chair, if you have time even to have a discussion about what's coming forward. So if we can answer those questions for you ahead of time, and then we can prepare those, that'd be fantastic. And yeah, for sure, we can do that through email as well. Thank you.
All right, great. I think that will serve us well going forward. Okay, our next, did I do an all in favor?
Madam Chair, can we have a motion to receive that?
Yes. I all of a sudden I looked and I thought, I don't think I did a motion. And could I have a motion to receive that as information? Member Santos and a seconder, Member Cruz. All those in favor? And that is carried.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
I believe Member Santos did introduce another agenda item, which was a chief's update under consent. So if that's okay with the member.
That's right. I
we can
did.
begin that.
Okay. Thank you for that, Aaron. I did have that kind of noted, but it's on the back of my page 1. So, okay. So let me just flip to that. And that would be 7.3 that we're adding to consent. And that was Chief Case. Would you like to speak to that, Member Santos? Was that you that had brought that forward, or just for Chief Case to speak?
Madam Chair, if I may, yeah, if we could give the floor to Chief Case with regards to the transfer from Haldeman and of course the new acting inspector, if that's possible. Thank you.
Yes, it most certainly is. All right, Chief Case, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chair. I'll just start off by saying thank you to everybody in the community and everybody here for their support while I've been here. It's certainly been a pleasure working in this community. I'd like to say I'm not going far. So, and I appreciate Chair Santos did meet with the superintendent and chief superintendent to discuss this movement, and he was supportive of that. And so thank you, understanding some of the dynamics that are going on and the impending retirement of the inspector there, and that office needing some support through that transition because of the issues that incident has recently occurred. So I just want to say thank you to start off. But again, I'm not far, and we will work together. Our communities have always worked together and will continue to do so. And support each other. And I will turn it over to the acting inspector, Jen Nemts, who comes with some experience with the OPP. We worked together before, so I'll let her talk about herself, but we should be excited about having her as well. Just so you know, she's just recently been successful in the inspector talent pool, so she does have her inspector's credit, just so you know that part of it. So I will turn it over to you. Yes.
Good morning, Madam Chair, and through you, thank you for the warm welcome this morning. I do really appreciate it. I'll just give you a quick little history on myself, a brief bio on myself. My name is Jennifer Nemps, and I'm originally from Niagara Falls, but I started with the OPP in Haldeman, so this is really coming home. Like Inspector Case said, this community and Haldeman work closely together, so I did have the benefit of getting to know Norfolk while I was in Haldeman. I have worked in several places in the province, so I get to bring that experience with me here to Norfolk. I've worked in Central Region, which Kawartha Lakes, Peterborough, that sort of cottage area, so we're quite familiar with the cottage population and the influx of people that brings, so I'm really alive to that fact. I worked in the north. When I say north, I mean fly-in remote Indigenous community. For 16 months as a detachment commander, and then came to Wellington and have come from there to here. So I'm very, very excited to come here and to be a part of your community and your team. And I will definitely be relying on this wonderful team that you have here before you. And we'll be reaching out to Jody as often as necessary, probably daily, just to help me out here. But I do look forward to working with yourselves and the community stakeholders and partners, as well as our team, to ensure that community safety remains our priority. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much. We're looking forward to working with you as well. And on behalf of our Police Services Board, I would like to thank Chief Case for her dedication and time here to Norfolk County. And we do understand that we do have a very collaborative relationship with Haldeman County. And in many ways, shapes and forms, Haldeman and Norfolk kind of, even though they split us apart, we still kind of go together. So anyways, thank you very much. Best of luck in your new role in Haldeman, and welcome to you. Thank you. Member Santos?
Thank you, Chair Huffman. If I could just say a few words in regards to our outgoing Chief of Police. I was going to make note on page 33 of the agenda. It was understood that during Christmas, the morning of Christmas, that the OPP family attended, I believe, Riverside 83, and with the Staff Sergeant Fox, I believe it was, and yourself, Chief, and Ed Sanchuk, Constable Ed Sanchuk, and a number of other members of the police service. I wanted to say thank you, not only for that, but also for numerous things throughout the year that I've noticed in Norfolk County and what you've done outside of Norfolk County. We're going to miss you, there's no doubt in my mind, but knowing that you're next door on the east end, neighboring Norfolk County, you'll definitely be shadowing and very much aware of what is happening here in Norfolk County with borderless policing. And also a special thank you for your leadership with regards to the death of Constable Priscilla, because I know that what took place on that day was not easy at all, but I know with Western Region, the leadership was taken upon where Norfolk did help out Haldeman on numerous occasions throughout that day and throughout the week, and it was continuous. So a special thank you. And I would say to our members, if we could stand and give standing ovation and an applause, because I truly believe that in the last 7 months that you've been here in Norfolk County, I've noticed a great difference, not only with the community policing downtown with our new office at Indwell, but the, I should say the tone that you've set here at Norfolk County. And I appreciate that and your leadership. And I do believe that our new acting inspector will pick up from where you've left off with the assistance of our 2 staff sergeants who are very well versed in Norfolk County. So if I can ask Madam Chair, please and thank you, if we can stand and give a standing ovation to our chief and wish her luck in her new post.
Absolutely.
Thank you again. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Chair, can I just say one more
You
thing?
most certainly can.
Thank you very much for that. I didn't need that, but thank you. I just wanted to reiterate that I do have some community events that I have promised in Norfolk, so you will still see me around and with the acting inspector and the staff. So we have a couple of things coming up, some Special Olympics and some charity hockey games that we can talk about further, but I will still be present and because I've committed to those things, and I will still come over and be there for that. So.
Great to hear. I'm glad we're keeping you around for a little bit. Okay. I've kind of lost with all these pages I've got going here.
Madam Chair, maybe we just can receive that as information.
Okay, I was going to say, I think we need to receive that. So if we could, if I could have a motion to receive that as information, Member Santos, a seconder, Member Willie Van Houten, and all those in favor. Okay, and that is passed. We're on reports deferred, right? Okay. Reports deferred from previous meetings. We have no reports deferred. Next item on the agenda is items for consideration. We have 2 items for consideration. Item 9.1 is update, read the 2022-2023, 2023-2024 reduced impaired driving everywhere, which is more commonly known as the RIDE grant. And are there any questions from the board regarding this report on your agenda? Member Santos?
Thank you. Madam Huffman. Chair Huffman, my question, if I could pose this question to our board administrator, is have we received any documentation yet from the Solicitor General's office in regards to the granting of this grant for 2022 to 2023 and onward?
For you, Madam Chair, to the member, I have to contact my colleagues in the grant department. I don't have much information about this itself. I've received nothing about it. I can follow up with the financial department.
All right, so we will wait for some confirmation as to whether that is been notified from your end. Okay, are there any other comments or questions? Member Santos?
Thank you. I just wanted to add, the reason, of course, this grant was requested is Norfolk County, and I think throughout the province, there's a major issue with impaired driving, both alcohol and drugs. So these monies are allocated for that, for overtime, so they would come in handy. From what I understand in reading the stats for Ontario in 2022, that in Western region, we're in the top 4 when it comes to impaired driving, unfortunately, out of the 13 detachments. And that's what I understand, Chief Case, in reference to that. So these monies would hopefully come in fairly handy in regards to overtime and in reference to the ride. So I just wanted to add that. Thank you.
Yes, unfortunately, we do have that attached to us in terms of being in the top numbers for the impaired driving. And unfortunately, due to our lack of public transportation and our taxi system and lack of other things, people don't have options that they do in larger, more urban centers. And we need to make sure that these options are available for people, and we continue to hammer home that no drinking and driving is what we expect in our community. And let's get ourselves off of that list in the top. Do I have a motion to receive this update as information? Member Van Houten, and a seconder? Member Santos, all those in favor? And that is carried. The next item that we have for consideration was a letter, 9.2, Doug Feltmate, regarding police dogs. And I'm hoping everyone had a chance to read Mr. Feltmate's letter regarding the use of the service dogs, not really service dogs, but that's words not coming to my head right now. Are there any questions from the board on this communication? Member Santos?
Yes, Madam Chair, if I may, if I could ask Chief Case to enlighten us to what's been happening locally for the Norfolk detachment in this regard, please, and thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, that would be fine. Chief Case? And the word was support dogs, not service dogs. That's the word I was looking for. So, and I'm glad to see that you've been able to access this program. And when you look at the use of support dogs in hospitals and other high tension situations, and where there's a lot of moving parts going on, there seems to be a great feedback from individuals who have had an opportunity to engage in this program. So hopefully it'll be something that will continue here on for our detachment. Are there any other comments or questions? Member Santos?
Thank you, Chair Huffman. So in regards to Mr. Feltmate, I mean, the answer would be through Chief Case that this, of course, is already in existence, and it's ongoing through the OPP and has been for a while. Is that correct? Thank you.
Yes, I was going to summarize so that Mr. Feltmate, if you're watching today, your letter has been received and we have made a point of making sure that we're communicating back to you that this detachment has engaged in the support dogs and they continue to do so. So thank you very much for bringing this to light. Do I have a motion to receive this update as information? Member Santos, seconder. Member Cruz, all those in favor? And that is carried. Now, we have a few things listed. Next is correspondence arising from previous.
Sorry, Madam Chair.
Sorry.
Just a few notes from that member Santos included on the agenda. So
I was thinking they were on the next one. My apologies.
are you okay to do them now? I have them listed too.
Okay. We'll go ahead and do them now then.
Okay, the first one, Madam Chair, is meeting dates. Mr. Santos can introduce that.
Okay, thank you. Member Santos, would you like to,
So if I may, Madam Chair, I'm looking at April of 2023, so I'm looking at the last Wednesday of the month. I don't have a calendar here in front of me, but I'll put it out to the board. Sorry, the board administrator, Madam Chair has his hand up.
go ahead.
Through you, Madam Chair, just because I do have a calendar in front of me. What I'm recommending for the dates from our conversation with the member is April 26th, June 28th, September 27th, and November 29th as the meeting dates. That's the last Wednesday of the month, and that would give us enough time to receive the statistics on the 15th and to get the agenda prepared and all that, and then eliminate the need for an addendum.
Could you just repeat the dates for
Sorry.
September and December?
That's April 26th.
Yep.
June 28th,
Mm-hmm.
September 27, and November 29.
So, Madam Chair, is that okay also with the OPP? The dates being the 4th, it falls on the.
I'll ask. Yeah.
Thank you.
So could I get a feedback from our detachment? Are the last Wednesday of those months, is that meeting time appropriate for you? Perfect, that's good. Okay, any other questions or comments from members regarding those meeting dates? Okay, so we need a motion for that?
Madam Chair, perhaps the motion can be that the board approve the following meeting dates for 2023, April 26th, June 28th, September 27th, and November 29th.
Would someone like to make that motion? Member Van Houten and seconder? Member Santos, all those in favor? And that carries. Okay.
Madam Chair, I think the next item is the charity event that the member mentioned.
I just wanted to add one more comment, sorry, to the meeting dates. I just wanted to confirm with members of the board and with the OPP, does the 9 a.m. start date, does start time work, or are there any requests for any different time? We'll leave it then, that our start times are, Linda, go ahead.
Thank you. I would consider a 9:30 start. It's just to, depending on, well, usually in the summer it's fine, but in the fall it's a little bit difficult for 9 o'clock when you're driving over 30 minutes in. If that's if 9 o'clock is fine with it, if everyone else is happy with it, if not, I prefer a 9:30 start. Thank you.
Are there any comments on that? 9:30? Okay. 9:30 All right, so what we'll
Can
do is then part of our motion will be is that effective April 26th, our Police Services Board meetings will commence at 9:30 a.m. That will also give staff a little bit of time in terms of making sure that everything's all set up, and yeah, I think it works better for everybody. Okay, thank you. Okay,
We need a mover and seconder for that.
I think I did.
I thought we got a mover and seconder. Just
Oh,
for the
maybe,
date, and
sorry,
then-
yes, I added on. Okay. So a seconder, Member Cruz. Those in favor? And that is carried. Next on our, and I apologize for, I've got notes written all over here. Things are a little bit hectic here with up at the chair this morning with the transition. Next on the agenda is 9.4 charity hockey game, and my understanding is that Chief Kays will be speaking to this.
I can't hear anyone else speaking.
Okay, just a minute. We'll try another mic. Yeah, Jody, even when it's lit up, it doesn't seem to be working very well.
How's that?
There we go.
Okay, so I'll start again, Chair. So, what I was saying that since COVID, we've been trying to do some more things with our policing partners and trying to build some capacity between all of our communities. So Six Nations, Brantford City, and our syndicate partners, which is our group of detachments that meet regularly. So it's Oxford, Brant County, Haldeman, and Norfolk together. And part of what we're doing is doing some charity hockey games. You may or may not be aware that several months ago, Haldeman and Six Nations did a charity hockey game in Cayuga, raised for both food banks. It was a success, and we are continuing that. We have a game March 4th in Oxford, Tilsonburg, against the Oxford OPP, and then we have scheduled one March the 23rd here in Norfolk. The county has been gracious enough to provide us the ice time, so it's between us and Six Nations to raise for the food banks for both communities. So in saying that, the detachment does not have hockey jerseys. So I'm coming to the Police Services Board to ask for $1,000 to go towards purchasing of team jerseys. And we are proposing to put on Norfolk OPP Police Services Board so that we recognize the fact that the Police Services Board has supported us in that.
Wow, advertising. I didn't know we'd get something out of the deal. Before I issue my comments, I will open it up to the floor. Are there any comments from the members? Willie, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. And I'd certainly be willing to move that motion. I think it does a couple things. First of all, it's a charity within the community. The money we're doing is part of that, and it's also, I think, good for relationships. It's nothing but positive to have something like this. So every year we kind of donate some of that money that we talked about earlier on to a good area, and I think within the monies that we have, we can manage it. And so I would make the motion that we donate $1,000.
Thank you for that. And Member Cruz?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I agree with Willie, given that the issue here supports team building, and ultimately the money is going to be coming back to the community. I certainly support the $1,000 donation.
Member Santos?
Thank you, Chair Huffman. I also support our members, and I think one thing that's very important with our board, we're an oversight body of the OPP, and the motto, of course, is to serve and protect. And how I see it now is, we're protecting the OPP and watching over, but at the same time, it's a nice way to team build and to serve and work with our neighboring forces. My understanding is we have the Brantford Police, we have Six Nations, we have the Haldeman Police, Brant OPP, and Norfolk OPP. So great opportunity. So I'm definitely on side. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. I would just like to say what a great team building exercise this is for all the community partners. I do have one request: represent us well, hold that line, and get some goals. So that is great to hear, and looking forward to that. And what is the date of the one here in Norfolk County again?
March the 23rd.
March
I will-
23rd.
I'll make sure, Chair, that I send the details to yourself to distribute to the county and to the police service board. So, and we will be trying to do some things with the schools as well, although it's difficult with some of the issues getting into the schools, but the Catholic School Board certainly. So we have some visions to include the schools as well.
Just thinking too, this could even, it doesn't necessarily have to be ice hockey. This could be ball hockey in the warmer weather, and the jerseys can be used for that, and just different things like that. So certainly money well invested in our community and our partners. So, okay, I need to get, I guess I did have a motion and I did have a seconder. So the motion was on the floor. The seconder was Member Cruz, and all those in favor, I guess. Right? Okay. All right. The next item on the agenda is 9.5, and that is resolution number 4 from September 28th, 2022. And my understanding is this is a follow-up regarding a report on the cannabis situation in regards to our bylaw department. And Member Santos, were you going to speak to this?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, that is correct. So just to refresh everyone's mind, I did send out an email, but the motion on the floor back on September the 28th of 2022 was that Mr. Jim Milson, Supervisor of Bylaw Enforcement, be invited to the December 13th, 2022 Police Services Board meeting to provide a presentation regarding cannabis control in the last 6 months. As we're all aware, we received an email from our County Clerk, Teresa Olson. So I would put a motion in reference to this that we send a direct request to our Norfolk County Clerk, and I believe it's Teresa Olson as we speak now, and it could change over the next month or so. But action on invitation to our new Norfolk County to update us on the issues in reference to cannabis and what's happened in the last several months in regards to the issue.
Okay, so if I'm understanding this correctly, Mr. Milson is doing a report to council in the month of February, and my understanding is that there was a request from the community to have bylaw speak at the Police Services Board. It was deemed that it was more appropriate that he present to council first. So my understanding is that invitation was going to be extended, that there was already something in place for him to speak at our next Police Services Board. I don't know if we need another motion in place for that. I think that direction was already in place, and the expectation is that Mr. Milson will do a presentation to the Police Services Board at the April 26th meeting.
Okay, Madam Chair, if that's the case, then I will rescind the motion and be glad to hear what he has to say in the month of April in regards to the issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, next, let's move my numbers around. Done that. Done police dogs. Was there anything else? I think I ended with 9.5. Was there anything else, Aaron?
Madam Chair, I think you can just receive that resolution number 4 discussions information, and I think there's one more item on the spring conference discussion.
Oh, right. Okay, there it is. I did a short form for conference. Okay. All right, so if we can receive that information, receive that as information regarding Mr. Milson speaking to the Police Services Board on April 26th as information. Just all those in favor?
Mover and seconder.
Mover and seconder? Okay. Mover, Mr. Santos, and seconder, Member Cruz. All those in favor? Thank you. And finally, the last one on our agenda is the 9.6 is the spring conference, which is May 30th and June 1st of 2023. And I believe, Willie, you had put this forward?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairperson. I think if I recall from last year, we had to have a motion to send 2 people. And so I would suggest we do the same as other years. The chair, I think we did the chair plus the vice chair, or last year, or chair plus vice chair with an alternate in case somebody can make it. But I think it's a good thing that we do send 2 people physically. We had other options about doing more people, but then virtually. But I think having the people at the conference is the best bet bang for our buck, really, to say. So, however you want to play it, Madam Chair.
Okay. Yes, I thank you for that. I certainly do agree that sending 2 individuals in person is certainly beneficial. You do get a chance to network and things like that. As I attended last year and I quite enjoyed it. I would be more than thrilled to attend this year. Unfortunately, my son is getting married on June 2nd, so I'm otherwise disposed. So I have to count myself out. So I think 2 members. Willie, you had a comment?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairperson, and thanks for the update on that. If the chair can't make it, then if the vice chair is able to make it, and Member Cruz, who was an alternate last year, that would, to me, that would be a great volunteer.
That's exactly who I was going to mention as our backup. So it's in Niagara Falls, so not a bad drive. Member Vanden Rishi, how does that work for your schedule?
Yes, I can make that work. Thank you.
And Member Cruz, did you want some time to think about it, or are you okay for those dates? Okay. So at this point in time, to the annual conference, we will send Vice Chair Linda Vanden Rishi and Member Michael Cruz to the spring conference. And Willie, go ahead. Okay. And a seconder? Member Santos, all those in favor? Okay. And that is carried. And at this point in time, any correspondence arising from the previous business? And we have no correspondence arising from previous business. And next on our agenda would be media question period. Do we have any members of the media online who would like to ask any questions? No? And I guess, oh, it says adjustment, but I'm assuming, just being new to the chair, that means adjournment. May I have a motion to adjourn? Member Cruz, and second it by Member Santos. All those in favor? And I would like to say that the meeting is adjourned at 10:45 a.m. today. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a great day.